Yo, 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 how's it going, boys? Today I'm coming at you with a backhand blade build for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. I gotta say, this is the one build I used my entire first playthrough of the DLC, and I have not had this much fun probably since the base game came out. It's not min-maxed or anything crazy, but it is simple, straightforward, viable, and it is real sexy. Well, the first thing we're going to need to do is get our hands on this backhand blade. So once you grab the first grace, right after you get transported to the Shadow Realm, you can go ahead and head over to this map fragment. It's probably the first thing you should do anyway. Don't mind this guy, but I just can't help myself. It's endless revenge for me, because he got me good the first time. Now that we've got our map fragment, I'm just going to open this up, and we're going to head to the northeast of the Scorched Ruins, kind of over by this circular landmark. And you can pretty much just beeline it there. There's not really any super tough enemies or anything. And yeah, once we get there, you can pick it up, and you're good to go. Alright, so let's talk about why we're using this build. This will lead us into why we're picking the stats we're picking. But essentially, it's a very simple weapon that gives you the second armament when you two-hand it, so it's fast, right? And it also happens to scale with an S in Dex when it's all the way upgraded to plus 25, which is huge. I don't think any of the other backhand blades do that. I could be wrong. But that's the first point. The second point is the Asher War. Now, there's two that I'm aware of that that are for backhand blades. The first one that comes with it, Blind Spot, is so sick, dude. It's simple, but it's a completely different way to play the game. And I just fell in love with it right away. Alright, before we get into the actual stats, I just want to clarify. I tried to make this a 150 build. I know I'm level 233, but I basically used the stats that I'm going to use in the 150, as you'll see there. And I just dumped the rest into what I thought was a useless stat in Arcane, and then I found out it provides a buttload of holy damage. Be that as it may, there's two stats we really want with this build, and that's Dex and Endurance, because this is a fast weapon, so the more damage you can get out there quickly, the better. And then that brings us to the star of the show, Blind Spot. So the great thing about Blind Spot, besides being ridiculously fun, is it costs like no FP. It's basically 9. So I set my mind to 16 here, and that got me 11 blind spots, because that would be 99 FP, right? Now, the crappy thing about Blind Spot is it eats up stamina like crazy. So that's why we gotta focus on Endurance. Just pump that up as much as we can, and you'll see when we get to the talismans how we supplement that. But besides that, you can keep mine pretty low. Strength's at the minimum. If you wanted to put some levels into Faith, like 15, just so you can hit buffs and, you know, weapon buffs, physical buffs, etc., you could. I did it. And then we just put the rest into Vigor. Alright, we have now reached the end game. I felt it was fair that we could bump up our stats to a 200 plus build. Honestly, not a whole lot's going to change. We're going to keep Dex at 80. Still don't think there's a point in putting points into Strength, to be honest. The damage he gets is just so negligible. We're going to crank Endurance up to hit the stamina soft/hard cap. Pretty much stops giving you any more stamina, and at this point, your equip load's ridiculously large, so there's no point. We're going to crank Vigor up to 70, just because why not? We're going to put a couple points into Faith so we can definitely buff, and then the last thing we're going to do is is crank mind up to 30, because even though I said last time it's not an FP heavy build, it's still fun to, you know, not have to refill a cerulean flask. Alright, let's talk talismans. I'm not gonna lie, I think there's two schools of thought for the talismans for the backhand blade blind spot build. And if you couldn't tell by now, this whole build pretty much revolves around blind spot, just because it's so much fun. But there's two schools of thought here. It uses so much stamina, you're gonna get caught with your pants down if you don't try and up that. You know, we've already hit the soft cap with endurance, and it's still just not enough. So I almost always have the double turtle head. If you don't have the double turtle head, you can use the single, but I'd get the double. I mean, it's just that much better. So that is one talisman I almost never swap out. Now the other school of thought is, since it's a quick weapon, you just do as much damage as you possibly can, right? And so there's a lot of different talismans you can use for that. I like to lean into blind spot because that's just how I've been having a lot of fun. So I rock with the Shard of Alexander. Gotta keep your boy with you, you know. That gives you 15% added to your blind spot. And then, I didn't know this until the other day, but you can use the Spear Talisman, which enhances counterattacks unique to thrusting weapons. And blind spot is considered a thrusting, or piercing maybe is the word they use. So the Spear Talisman works on blind spot. It stacks with the shard, or the Alexander shard. So that'll give you 30% extra damage on top of whatever you're already doing. Now, the Spear Talisman will only work if your enemy is attacking you. It's got to be a counterattack, so they got to be an animation or something. But I really like the combo of those two in at least two of your slots. You could go wild and throw the Rotten Winged on there too, and you could not use the stamina, but generally I've got Double-Headed Turtle, Shard of Alexander, and the Spear Talisman. And that just makes for a potent combo. If you want the fourth slot, you can really do whatever you want with. Physical damage negation, any damage negation talisman you can use. But if you want to go really crazy, you can put the Double-Headed Turtle and the, I think it's Viridian, the one that bumps your stamina way up, +3. So then you have an insane amount of stamina, and you got all the damage in the world. And then on top of that, you got your physic. So you can put both the, what is it called? I think it's Viridian again. You can put both those tiers in there, and you're never running out of stamina, dude. It's blind spots for days. Your guy's going down. The stamina physic's also a good way if you need the negation talismans instead of the stamina talismans. That's also a good way to, make sure you don't get caught with your pants down. But yeah, I kind of like rocking. I just go all in on blind spot and make sure I got the stamina to keep up. And if it's a really gnarly fight, I'll move some things around, but that's the beauty of this build. It's so straightforward and simple that it's easy to tinker with, if you may, on the fly if you encounter an enemy you're not, very good at, or, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's about it. I've been having a lot of fun with this. I mean, how can you not? I haven't seen an Asher War like this. It's like Bloodhound Step or Raptor the Mist combined with an attack. Basically, it's sick, dude. I love it. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I hope you guys do too. Peace.